Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mellowcast, the official podcast for the Twitch team, the Mellow Fellows. And today with me, the easy breezy man himself, RyanAVX. How you doing, Ryan?
A good day to you. I'm Ryan. He's literally just said, but I'm Ryan. Hi, Gonzo. I'm okay. How are you?
Hi, Gonzo. Hi, Ryan. Hi. I'm just kidding. I'm good, man. I'm just living the dream. A little tired today, but other than that, it's actually been a pretty good day.
Living the dream, just fresh off that gluten-free pizza. Very nice. Pepperonis, my favorite.
Dude, gluten-free pizza is so good. A lot of people give gluten-free products like crap, but it's actually really, really smooth. You know, it's super healthy for you in a way because it's easier to digest in your body, and my stomach cannot handle gluten in general, and my body feels better thinking about it.
I've always thought of giving gluten-free stuff a go because some of it looks really tasty.
Yeah, all right. So I don't know if you've ever heard of gluten-free bread. You know, in like sub shops, we have a sub shop here called I won't say the name, but it's a particular sub shop here that has gluten-free bread, and I tried it a couple times. And what it is, it's like bread, right? But it's a little more, I guess, drier, like much more drier. It kind of feels like not like a sponge, but almost to that point where it's just super fluffy, you know. Not like it's not like a normal bread where it kind of feels, you can feel like some type of moisture, you know. And yeah, it wasn't that bad. Not gonna lie, it held my my meats and my vegetables in the sandwich, and it was actually not too bad.
Nice.
Highly recommend you trying some gluten-free stuff if you haven't already.
I can't at the minute though because everything's still on lockdown. It feels kind of bad.
Yeah, especially just around the world. Who's concerned about gluten-free products at this point right now when we got COVID going around, right? I mean, I am, but that's just me. Don't judge me. All right, I gotta get my gluten-free products. So, how long have you been streaming on Twitch?
Freaking hell, that's a good question.
Give me the full biography of RyanAVX. Like from start, like why'd you start streaming? Like I want to know everything.
A full biography.
Oh
Wow.
yes.
Okay. So mid 2016, freaking Planet Coaster came out, and I really freaking enjoyed it. So just on the off chance, a couple of days, I decided, oh hey, I'm just going to stream Planet Coaster. One person came in and talked to me, and I was like, wow, this is cool. And then I didn't stream again for a year.
Yeah, this is great, and then gone. That's all I needed.
I think I left that person hanging because I was like, okay, I'll see you tomorrow in Planet Coaster, and then I didn't show up.
poor guy's still waiting to this day, some say.
Yeah. So then, what was it after that? In 2017, like August or September, maybe July, somewhere around there in 2017, I picked up streaming properly because I was a little bit sad and I wanted to make friends. So I came onto stream. I was like, I'll just stream myself playing all the games that I normally do. So I did stuff like freaking Overwatch. Well, I couldn't do Overwatch because my PC was crap, so I did Paladins instead because that's a much less pretty game. And I just streamed like normal gaming sessions and found out that I really freaking enjoyed just talking to people on there, even though I was really nervous to start with. I would always have this like little nervous laugh where I went every time I said a sentence because I didn't know what to do.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm. What then? around like late November, December, I started thinking to myself, do you know what? I really like old games. I've always wanted to start collecting old games. It's something I've had a massive interest in for a very long time, but never really had the money to do. And I didn't really have anything to spend my money on at the time, apart from the occasional Warhammer models. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to start streaming some old games. And I did. I started streaming some retro stuff, really enjoyed reliving all of the games. I've met a lot more people that were actually my age or around my age, which was great. And we had much better conversations rather than, oh my God, that kill was so elite. We were actually talking about stuff about games and the state of gaming and what it was like in like the 80s and 90s, things like that. Really interesting topics for me. And then after that, I just started growing a little bit more with the whole retro stuff. Now I've got a pretty decent collection. I feel like I've settled in a little bit to the retro stuff. It's cool.
Nice. That's actually nice intro to streaming and retro gaming. Like,
but wait, there's more.
oh, it's like a sham wow commercial. Great, I love it. Keep going.
So, besides 1 year of streaming absolute crap on Twitch and then moving on to retro games, did you know that you can, for the low price of $9.99.99, get for yourselves your very own music streams? Because I started them earlier on this year as well. And we do indie stuff now too, looking at retro-styled indie games. That's where I was going with.
I love that. It was just like a nice little casual retro advertisements, you know. Just, but wait, there's more. If you dial this number now, you too can own this. And then they show product, and you're like, oh, I want it. Where do I call? I always found that kind of weird, right? I don't know if you remember those old school commercials where they told you to call in for something. To like,
there was one that and it was. I was flicking through the channels because I was watching like Cartoon Network something or other, and I started scrolling back down the channels, and it ended up on some random shopping channel, and the guy on there was selling these. It was early 2000s. The guy on the shopping channel was selling Pokemon Tropical Booster Packs or whatever.
Okay. All right.
And they were really freaking cool, man. It was based on. I can't remember if it was like one of the filler series. Yeah, it was after the Kanto series. Then there was like either a little filler arc where they went on some tropical islands, and this card set was released about the islands that they went.
Interesting. Never heard of that actually, but that seems interesting.
I mean, they were basically the same Pokemon, the same 151, but there were different designs and stuff because it was all like tropical and stuff. It was pineapple.
That's fair.
And
Pineapples and coconuts, and also pineapples. Did I mention coconuts?
A lovely bunch of coconuts.
Nice. So you said that you kind of got into retro gaming. You wanted to start collecting games, right? So what games or what systems or what are you actually collecting, right? Because a lot of people talk about collections. They either collect figurines or cards or something very specific, right? Retro is a very broad term, right? Retro gaming is even bigger because there's so many things you can collect that pertain to retro gaming, right? What do you particularly collect?
Well, when I was looking into the whole collecting thing, I noticed that a lot of people were doing whole libraries for consoles and things like that. I knew that was something that I didn't want to do because at the end of the day, you end up with like 50 million copies of FIFA and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater that I'm not particularly interested in, or like freaking Barbie games, and I don't really want to play all that trash, so I don't feel like I should own it. So at first, I started out with like just a select few Super Nintendo games because I had one of those third-party retro consoles called a Retro Freak. The price of everything was a little bit of an issue for me, so I looked at like Japanese Super Famicom cartridges, and then got this third-party console because you could install translation patches on it, right? That thing actually melted on me on the inside after I played it for like 2 days because it's terribly designed.
It feels bad.
So then I ended up with all of these Super Famicom carts that I couldn't understand because I don't speak Japanese. Well, I mean, I understand a little bit, but I don't speak it. So then I picked up a Super Famicom for some freaking reason. I was like, oh, I'll play these games and I'll use my mobile phone to translate the text as it appears on screen. That was a terrible idea, and it didn't work out very well. So then I remembered, oh yeah, there's a PlayStation in the other room. And I went to get the PlayStation, played some of the stuff on there. Was like, hey, I actually really like this era of console. Actually, that was a massive roundabout direction I just took to get to your initial question. Frickin'.
No, it's you go as many routes as you want. It's all up to you.
Okay. So yeah, then I played the PlayStation for a little bit, and I remembered how much I enjoyed the PlayStation era, the first generation of 3D consoles, because I was born in 1990. It's becoming a life story now. Freaking hell.
Please,
it feels weird.
but I mean, it's really all about you, you know. So it completely works out.
It feels weird all about me, though. I don't like it.
Welcome to the podcast, where the podcast is literally about all you.
Freaking hell.
Please continue.
Okay. So I was born in the 1990s, so I don't remember a lot of like the Super Nintendo or Mega Drive era. You guys call it the Genesis because you're freaking weird. Okay.
Listen, in the US, it was called the Sega Genesis, and that's what we're sticking with. I know it's the Mega Drive, right? But
it's the Mega Drive everywhere else except America.
It's like everywhere else it's football, but for us it's soccer. You know, yes. I understand, you know. Or actually, we use the imperial system over, you know, the good kind of system.
And you spell everything. Color has a U. It has a U.
It has like for example, knife, you know, has a K, but it's silent and it's the first thing. In, you know, just English and the U.S. We like to make things harder on everybody. I guess, but yeah. Definitely.
Where were we anyway?
Oh yeah, you were talking about Sega Genesis and how Sega Genesis was the best console for you.
Oh no, definitely not. So yeah, I don't remember a lot of the SNES or Mega Drive era because I was only like 4 or 5. But I remember a lot of the PlayStation, and the early 3D stuff really fascinates me even today.
Right.
For me, I think the early 3D generation is like the Wild West of games, because not only is it like the starting point for so many franchises, but also hello?
Yeah, hello?
Someone's shouting outside, freaking hell.
Oh, lovely.
But it's the starting point for so many franchises and for genres and things like that. You get to see them like in their raw state before they got commercialized.
Right.
You just see so many unique ideas on stuff like the N64 and PlayStation, right? Like, how about a horror game where there's fixed camera angles and you control like a tank? That game doesn't sound like it'll work very well, does it? It's one of the best games ever.
Do you mean Resident Evil?
Yes.
Do you mean Silent Hill?
Yeah.
Oh, those games. Oh yeah, totally. I've heard of. I think I've heard of them or something like that.
Yeah, that might be a little bit of a big deal, but they're still kind of neat. You'll be in the hipster club if you know what Resident Evil is.
Meh, you know, they seem subpar to me, but sure. So, what was your? All right. So, growing up, what was your favorite console? Right, and then has that changed? You know, since then.
The PlayStation 1 was my favorite console, for sure.
And has that opinion of yours changed?
Now,
Now it's the Super Nintendo. I knew it. See, I knew.
no, it's a really tough choice.
Go on.
I want to say the PlayStation 2 because
Oh.
my brother had a PlayStation 2, so I never played it a lot. Instead,
Mm-hmm.
I had the GameCube, which is just like a bad PlayStation 2.
Oh gosh, yes.
Yeah, but the PlayStation 2 kind of goes back to my first point, where it's taken all of these primitive game ideas from the PlayStation 1 and refined them all, but it's still a console that's got so much creativity for all the games because it's still not mainstream, if that makes sense. I know it sounds a little bit hipstery to say it's mainstream, but you know,
Mm,
I mean,
that's
the
fair.
PlayStation 2 has freaking Onimusha carry on the direct line from Resident Evil games, where they've still got fixed camera angles, but they've made it a little bit more action based, and it's still tank controls. But then you've also got stuff like Resident Evil 4, where it's starting to explore third person, over the shoulder games.
Mm,
First person games start getting really good after the inspiration from GoldenEye and the original Call of Duties and the Medal of Honors.
mm-hmm.
RPGs start getting so many new ideas in them, like from Rogue Galaxy, which made it like an action game with RPG elements. Kingdom Hearts as well, bringing in like action elements into the RPG. I think the PlayStation 2 is just an amazing console because of the massive variety of games on it, while still having the Wild West feeling of the PlayStation 1, if that makes sense.
Right. Like it was so revolutionary to gaming, I think, that
Indeed.
it was able to do things that you wanted to do on other consoles but couldn't. And then once you were able to, you're like, "Oh, I have all these ideas now," you know? And it kind of puts into perspective that things are always changing and look what we can do with change essentially.
I mean, I still think there hasn't been a leap in graphics quality or even a leap in technology quite as big as the one from the PlayStation 1 to the PS2.
Yeah, I mean, I think things have gotten a little sharper in terms of like quality. You know, they shapes and stuff like that look better on the newer consoles, but not like significantly. You know, and I mean
So
that is true.
there's not really many places for graphics and such to develop.
Yeah, like where do you go from here?
I
Like,
saw in the um oh my god, what's that game called? Serious Sam. In the latest Serious Sam, they're starting to explore like LOD characters and making it so that there's literally millions of enemies that are actually running towards you in the LOD, and then they phase in when they get close to you as real characters, which I
oh,
think is kind of cool. I think it's more like the scale, making everything bigger and then giving it more attention to the finer details up close, like sand particles, which to me doesn't really feel like it's that important. So I don't know why everyone's making a fuss about it with the PS5.
yeah,
I've never played a game and said to myself, "Wow, I really wish I could sniff those sand particles on the floor."
that's fair. That is fair. I mean, do you think that VR would ever get to the point of actually being VR, right? Like what they portray in movies, for example. Like you go into this little simulation thing and you get swallowed in and you can feel, see, hear, smell, like use all your senses. Do you think we'll ever in gaming at least get to that point?
Well, I mean, assuming that we're not all in the Matrix already,
I mean, right,
um,
right.
I think that VR is the next major thing for us. I mean, it started getting a little bit more popular now with the cheaper headsets and such, right? So I think maybe for smelling and feeling, maybe we're a very long way away. But I think cheaper headsets are definitely in the future, and I can see more devs going to VR instead of traditional games.
That'd be so cool if like you can feel the sand You know, like you pick up
You can
sand.
actually smell the sand particle.
You can even put some in your mouth and just cough on it. You know, oh, you know,
Oh my
because you
god,
got
no, that's a bad idea, dude. I've had lots of sand in my mouth before. It's not pleasant.
every time you go to the beach, it's just like no, no, no.
It always annoys me, right? Whenever I went to the beach as a kid, even though I'd be wearing shoes and socks, sand would still get into my shoes, and I wasn't kicking it up or anything. Just kind of got absorbed through the soles of my feet into my socks.
Yeah, it was always weird, right? Because how does it go through the soul, right? It just it's mind boggling that sand literally gets everywhere, but you're not putting it anywhere, or you're not like kicking it or throwing it. Like it's just there.
I've heard. I'm not sure if this is true, but I've heard that some particles of sand are so fine that they can actually go in between the fibers of your shoes and then go up through your shoes, where it then clumps together underneath your feet because of the, and then you start feeling it like a normal sand.
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't know if that's scientifically proven, but it's what the internet told me, and the internet's never been wrong.
Yeah, obviously, right? It's like Reddit, for example, has never been wrong. They're always right 150% of the time. I do believe, is what I heard from the internet, of course.
Mm.
So does that make the internet like 250% correct?
At least 110, I think.
All right, cool. That's good to know. At least I know I'm validated from the internet. Google never lies.
Yeah.
Oh man. So I remember you kind of just you did like a retro ad in the beginning of the podcast, right?
That one.
Yeah, the whole composer thing, right? So when did that start, and how are you enjoying that?
Music. Oh, wow, that's an even longer story.
Oh, please do tell.
Freaking hell, do I have to? It's really long.
Hey, we got time. We got lots of time.
Okay. Hold on, let me get my feet up on my cushion.
All right, everybody kick back. Everybody go grab a snack. This is going to be a long one.
Okay, so it is going to be long because we're starting back when I was like freaking 4 years old.
Ooh.
When
Mini
I was
Ryan.
4, mini happy Ryan. My dad was always into old school music, like old school rock, Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath, Lynyrd Skynyrd, all of those kinds of people. So I developed a love for rock music when I was a lot younger, and I started like dancing around the room all the time, singing Black Betty. Freaking hell. Good song. I don't know if you guys have heard it. It goes like, "Whoa, Black Betty, bam, a lamb." You should listen to that song. It's really cool. That's the one. And then, nice. And then that went on to freaking the natural progression, of course. Backstreet Boys. I wanted to be a Backstreet Boy after all of that as well. So I just bounced around my room singing Backstreet Boys songs. And I got really into music. I started playing the recorder at school. Choir was always really fun because I loved belting out and singing. And I've always been interested in music from then. But then, when I was 7, so not too long, when I was 7, stuff happened, and I lost enjoyment out of everything, including music, and I didn't really discover it again until I was 17, where I remembered how cool it was, how much fun I had with the music, and I started picking up the guitar and the bass. I didn't know how to play the guitar or the bass, and I had an accident with my finger, which I can't use my little finger anymore because it kind of got stuck in the bassoon pipe and tried to wiggle it out, and it just crunched, and I've not been able to use it since.
Ouch.
Yeah, I still don't know how it happened. I picked up. This story is all over the places. I picked up the guitar, couldn't really play it because my finger was crap. Decided to go to college because nothing was fulfilling, but music was. And my dad spoke with the tutors there and convinced them that even though I couldn't play anything at all, that they could give me a spot on the course. So they gave me like a little test to see how fast I could pick something up, and they were impressed with it, I guess, because they said I had a spot on the course afterwards, which was nice. They said, You're now a bass player," and I was like, "Wow, okay."
Right.
At that time as well, I didn't talk to people at all. I kind of just had my own little bubble where I wanted to be alone by myself all the time. Through learning music and the other people on the course with me, on the music course with me at college, kind of made me start coming out of my shell a little bit.
Okay, that's good.
I started talking to people, feeling more like myself, like a normal person, I guess. And the longer I was on the course, the more I started picking up other things and exploring with them. Like I started picking up the piano and learning how to play that. Started learning how to play the drums, how to play the guitar. I could actually play the guitar as well. I cut like the top string off, so I didn't have to use my middle finger to play the guitar. It was cheating, but it worked. Singing as well. I picked that up. It was just anything with music was something I was very much interested in.
Right.
For composing, though, it didn't start until a lot later. When I finished the course, after being on it for 4 years, finished the course, I became a one-man band for a little bit, making covers on YouTube, which I am not linking to anyone because I am very, very embarrassed about them. They're freaking terrible now. But I started making music for RPG Maker after that, when I kind of started losing interest in the band stuff. I started making music for RPG Maker so that people could use it in their games. And it made sense to me to combine my love of games with my love of music, and to immerse people into worlds through music, like I had been in the past, if that makes sense.
Right.
So for like 3 years or so, I was really into making music for games. I did it every day, releasing songs. Spent a lot of freaking money on gear too. I got, what was it, like the instrument set that you hear in Hollywood movies and things like that. That was the last thing that I bought. Because I really wanted to make a go of it, to make it a career. Because I started taking commissions back then, and people were really into my stuff, and I was getting better every day. But then my dad passed away in 2013, and again I lost all enjoyment out of everything for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Then I started streaming in 2017 to kind of like get over that. I know it might seem like a minor thing. Oh yeah, it's just, it shouldn't really take 5 years to recover from that. But my dad was like my main friend, my best friend.
Yeah, no, things like that. It takes a long time. Like I'm still not over, my grandmother's death. She was practically my mom, and she died 2010. It's been 10 years. So and I'm still dealing with that from time to time. So no, I completely understand. There's nothing wrong with that.
As time goes on, you learn to remember all of the happy times. It just makes you feel good when you remember them.
Right.
But sometimes you just feel really sad when you think of a particular time that maybe the day before made you happy when you think.
Mm-hmm. That's
just
fair.
like creeping thought in your head where, oh yeah, that's never going to happen again now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Like there'll be times where I'm talking with my mom, and we always reminisce on the funny moments that we always have with grandma. And actually, just last week we were talking about her, and because her birthday was last month, it was actually exactly a month ago today. Was her birthday, and she would have been 86. 86. So, or yeah. '86, and so we always reminisce on those moments, and it's always good to reflect the those moments that kind of you cherish the most, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah, for sure.
it does make you stronger, you know. It might not seem like it, but it does make you stronger. Because you become used to, not become used to, but you get used to the fact that you can still think about them in a happy manner, right? And
Yeah,
think about them more often, and still be happy, So, but yeah, um, no, I get you, man. Like, it's definitely a tough situation, and I mean, I'm glad that you got back into music too. Like you've done a couple of pieces for me that have been gold that I use on my streams now, and you gave me exactly what I wanted too, right? I remember the very first time that I commissioned you, I was like, oh, let me try it out. Let me see, let me see what's up, and because I got a little tip from a little non-flying bird that I'm not going to say who he is, Alex, uh, and he was like,
oh,
hey,
I see what you did there now. Non-flying bird ping.
yeah. And he was like, yeah, Ryan's music is really good. I was like, let me hear. And he gave me a small little piece that you did for him. All right, it was a sample piece. So I was like, that's good. That is really good. And then that's when I immediately went to you. I was like, hey, can you do something for me? And that was the very first time I asked you to do that. It was the Star Wars, what, Duels of the Fate.
Bum, bum, bada, bum, 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 bada, bum, bum.
Yeah. And then you added your own twist to it. You changed like the key it was in, and made it more of a boss theme, exactly the way I wanted it too. It was like just epic. Like I just wanted epicness, and you
I'm really happy
provided.
you like.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. Trust me. It's my BRB screen music. It's my starting soon screen music. It's a great chip tune. Like it really is. It's a good time. Um, and I have many other projects as well. So if you're ever in the mood to do any more projects, let me know. I'll send you some more.
I am intrigued.
Yeah, so Ryan is always looking for work. So if you guys are interested in having some chiptune music done, definitely consider Ryan. He is really good at what he does, and he's very, very professional. Always updates you like consistently, and he's his own critic. Even I'm like, it's great, and he's like, no, it's not. I'm gonna give you better, but I'm like, it's already perfect. You're gonna get better. Okay. And that's one thing I do love about Ryan is that he's always striving for perfection, right? He's always striving to give you the best that he can give you at the time. And when it comes to music, right, that's kind of what you're looking for. You want to have somebody that's there for you, right? And not you're not there for the money. You're not there to just do it, right? You're there to provide the best product that you can put out, right?
Mhm.
Because I mean, it's your time, it's your name on the line too, right? It's a lot to think about, but that helps out tremendously. And like I said, I'm just glad that you're back into music because music is wonderful, and freaking did it.
This is that awkward silence you warned me of before we started.
Oh, no, it wasn't that. It was I was trying to think like how to phrase it. I remember you were mentioning that you had a gig, right? That
Oh,
you
yeah,
were.
yeah, gigs.
Yeah, tell me more about that.
Oh, oh, freaking hell.
Yeah, I was
I
trying to
just,
think of like how to phrase it in my head. I'm like, is it a gig? Is it a show? Not really a showing, but you're making music for an indie developer, correct? Or in the process of.
yes. At the minute, it was just for a game jam. A game jam where it was Zelda 2 inspired, but you play as a robot in the post-apocalypse.
Ooh.
It's kind of cool. It's out now. I can give you a link if you.
Ooh, I mean, we could throw that in the YouTube video for sure.
It's completely free as.
Interesting. I do like free.
But
So
I besides like the game jams and stuff, I'm looking for like my first real gig, I guess, for a published game.
okay. And so how did they contact you? Was it just random that they knew you were a composer and were like, "Hey, we can use your work," or like
Of
how are you
the
getting
game
your
jams.
word out there? Yeah.
For the game jams, there's always like a Discord server that you join in, and then you post what you can do with like
Mhm.
a little sample of what you can do, and then people just message you from.
Mhm. That's interesting. So that they saw your work, right? They heard your stuff, correct?
Yeah.
So I mean that goes to show you you've got something going, you know? You've got something good. You gotta keep it
Man,
going, you know?
I was, I wasn't really ever planning on picking music back up for a very. I didn't even think I would after I stopped, but
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of going back to the streaming as well. It was starting streaming built up my self confidence to the point where I wanted to start making music again.
Well, that's
I
good.
guess you could say streaming reinvigorated my love for life.
That is a very good thing. I mean, like just streamers in general, right? Always have this other side of them that they don't really get to show on stream, right? Because we're entertaining. We're supposed to be entertaining people and supposed to provide content, right? And yeah, we do that, but it's also really hard at times, mentally, sometimes physically, emotionally, and and that's what these podcasts are really about, right? Because as streamers, we are supposed to put out a nice product, right? But as people, there's a lot of people out there that just won't listen, or don't know per se, like what's really going on, and I get you because I'm definitely one of those streamers that has, you know, I wouldn't say my life together, but I have it's getting better. It comes in phases, of course, but at the same time, we all go through different things at different times, right? So,
Yeah,
um, I am glad to see that you're still streaming and back into music. You're making gold now. I hope you get to one day work for Capcom like you want to, right? Working on Mega Man 14 and a half.
hell yeah.
I don't think they'll ever stop making Mega Man, all right?
There's tons of Mega Man games that never got released over here. Like there's freaking Street Fighter style fighting games, there's kart races, there's freaking mobile games, of course.
And why is that? Why is that they haven't released any of those like Mega Man games or any of those good ones? Is it because they don't
There's
like
some really
us? Is it because we smell?
good. I think maybe because they don't think the series has enough appeal over here for these spin-off games.
Okay.
Like, I think they release them in Japan because it's very much character based rather than game based, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Like Mega Man's just a pretty popular mascot.
He's a good boy.
It's kind of like the same reason why freaking Metal Gear Solid and Silent Hill pachinko gambling machines are such a big deal over when they wouldn't be over here.
But I love Metal Gear Solid.
Mm.
It's so good.
Yeah. Would you play a game about Metal Gear Solid where you had to put real money in to bounce some fake balls around this thing?
Maybe if I wanted to defeat Metal Gear, then maybe.
I'm really annoyed at Metal Gear Solid's pachinko machine because they actually remastered every single cutscene from Metal Gear Solid 3. And when footage of it was starting to get released, people thought they were doing a re-release of Metal Gear Solid 3, but it was just for a freaking gambling machine.
Oh man.
It's so annoying.
Oh man. The leaks came out. Metal Gear Solid 3's coming out, and you're just no, it's not. It's
Just no.
yeah,
Like,
it's going to be taking your money, but not in the same way that you're going to be able to play it casually.
it's like closing your eyes under some mistletoe and they're getting slapped in the face with a trout.
Oh yes, exactly that. Oh man, I kind of want to gamble now with some Metal Gear themed, music and videos going on now. Is that only in Japan?
The Gonzo podcast does not support gambling.
Oh, we don't condone in gambling. All right, guys, this is what I do on my own time. All right, monkey see, monkey don't do. All right, no, I'm just kidding. Oh man, yeah. You know what's also gambling? Loot boxes, microtransactions. Don't do that. That's bad.
Loot boxes.
Loot boxes. Yes, that is a topic. That requires 6 hours just to talk about. All right.
It is. It's such a freaking massive topic, and it's the root of so many problems too. But then you have to go on rants.
Everything wrong with gaming is through microtransactions and loot boxes. All right, that is everything wrong with gaming. All the sinister stuff.
I definitely think that loot boxes and microtransactions are the personification of the problem wrong with games today.
Agreed. Because like there is this feeling of wanting to have everything, but I don't want to pay for it, but I have to pay for it in order to get what I want.
And you don't want to put in the time.
And you don't want to put in the time, exactly. That's ugh. Loot boxes, man.
It's part of it's like gambling, exactly like gambling.
Yeah,
and you saw it happen with mobile games when they first started appearing, because console games and PC games were still relatively normal at that time. Mm-hmm. But then the developers started to copy what the mobile developers were doing, where it's providing a fix of dopamine, I guess, quickly and making people crave it as fast as possible.
Yes.
And then they end up buying loot boxes to get that fix. It just endless cycle of misery.
Yeah, because they know people are lazy, and they know that people just don't want to put in the hours in one game to get to the higher levels, right? Mm. They would much rather pay $50 or $2 or whatever, right, to get a certain advantage. That way they can be like, yeah, I am doing good in life. I am on top because I paid for it. Like, yeah, of course, if you put money into the game, I would expect you to be on top, and that's why I like to play free to play games that don't require you to pay, to be good, essentially. That's why I like MOBA games, and so card games are a different breed, right? So like games like Magic the Gathering, Hearthstone, or those games, those are the real pay to win games though. But it makes sense, right? Like you're paying to buy the actual cards, right? Or the packs or whatever to build your deck.
I don't like card games.
Yeah, it's card games.
Power creep.
Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic the Gathering.
Oh my god, don't even get me started on Yu-Gi-Oh.
Pokemon trading card game, dude. The rabbit hole goes deep. All right, it goes deep. Mm-hmm. I remember as a kid, oh my god, the hundreds of dollars I spent on Yu-Gi-Oh cards, man. On the booster packs, on the starter packs, on the packs. They were good times though. They were great times.
It was more like collecting then, though, wasn't it? You bought packs because you wanted the card.
Yes, exactly. But then I got into the game, like the actual trading card game itself, and you're just like, I like this. I want better cards. I want to beat my friends. And then that's
And
when,
old Yu-Gi-Oh was awesome.
oh, dude, season 1 of Yu-Gi-Oh, man, was, I think, the
Old bet.
best. The best. Then they kind of
Season
just,
2 was okay, but season 3 and then onwards is a little bit crap.
yeah, it's a little crappy. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I mean, I know what happened, but I don't know what happened, why they went that route. Maybe because they just didn't have any more story.
Because, of course, more money.
Yeah, but season 1 Yu-Gi-Oh was the best because they had no rules. There was like no such thing as sacrificing. You could just literally put a blue eyes white dragon on the ground from turn 1, and you're just like,
Oh, yeah. Give me them this damage point.
And then Kaiba's tournament is like, yeah, you got to sacrifice monsters now. Like, where does this whole sacrifice thing come from? When and how? Who created the rules? All right. Oh man,
I still prefer that to what it is now.
I don't even know what it is now. It's just
The last time I tried a Yu-Gi-Oh was probably like 3 or 4 years ago. They've added tons of different monster types to the games. Like, what was the? It's a white card background. I think it's called like a synchro summon or something.
ooh.
And basically, I went in there with my little dinky warrior deck where you equip them with magic cards to make them stronger. Really basic. Would have been really good back in season 2 and season 1 Yu-Gi-Oh.
Right.
All of a sudden, my opponent gets a full field of monsters on his first turn that were Blue Eyes White Dragon Strength that could nullify traps, nullify magic cards that targeted them, and there was literally nothing I could do to stop with my Celtic and Lightning Sword.
Is that even Yu-Gi-Oh at that point?
It is. And you know the best part? They ban all of the cards that can counter these strategies because they want people to buy the new card.
So yeah, okay, so they're actually forcing you to pay to win.
Yeah.
Got it.
You like can't use Black Hole anymore. You can't use Monster Reborn. All of those are banned.
See,
there are monsters which can do that now that are allowed.
That's true. I knew Monster Reborn was banned for many years. Like even since season 1 in tournaments, they banned that card for obvious reasons. But Black Hole was key. Like if you needed to have at least two or three black holes in your deck just to make sure, And yeah, if you ban that card, it's not really Yu-Gi-Oh to me anymore.
I really think they should have just cancelled Yu-Gi-Oh and just made a new card game after all. But the freaking Yu-Gi-Oh name got way too popular.
Yeah.
Which brings us on to a completely different topic about how franchises should just die after a while.
So franchises, right, such as like Resident Evil and Resident Evil.
I freaking love Resident Evil, but it has to end, man. It has to end at some point.
Mega Man and Resident Evil. They're from Capcom, right?
I know. I love Capcom. I love those games, but if I want them to do something, dude, there was a point in time I can pull off. Hold on, like 5 games off of my shelf that are all by Capcom. Have you ever heard of a game called Devil Kings by Capcom? It's their version of Dynasty Warriors, where you fight as like samurais that use steampunk guns on the PS2.
That's interesting. No, I've never heard of it.
Really freaking cool. Okay, what other Capcom games have I got on here? Oh my god. I was not prepared for this. I would have had them all laid out in front of me.
Oh boy.
If I was going to bring them all off my shelf.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Diving deep into the waters of the abyss with Ryan. Let's go.
Oh yeah. Okay. How about freaking Haunting Ground? That's a Capcom game.
Oh boy.
Haunting Ground, it's like it's a horror game, but you're like a defenseless character, and all you can do is run away from enemies, and you have like a little dog friend that joins you, and you can use him to find items and stuff. That's Capcom. That's really cool.
Never heard of it.
How about Okami? Another
Yes.
awesome Capcom game.
Yes.
Capcom just keep freaking releasing remasters, which is cool, but I really want them to make an Okami too. And I know we're just talking about how franchises should just die, but
But I really want them to make Okami too.
yeah, basically. Okay, I think there's like a cut-off point. When you get like 15 games in a franchise, then you should just let it end. But if there's only like one or two, I'd say it's fine.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like 1, 2, maybe pushing 3, right? A trilogy, for example, is fine. But then it starts getting old, and you're like, all right, you're just carrying on the name now, and none of it's connected. And, like, for
I
example,
think
Final Fantasy, right? They have like 1,000 games.
I think Final Fantasy is a really good example of a franchise done right
Yes,
because they all carry the Final Fantasy name, but they're all not
different.
linked in any way by story. They're very much kind of like their own little self-contained.
Exactly. A lot of people that are like, oh, wait, there are 15 Final Fantasies right now. I need to play the first one. I need to catch up. I'm like, no, they're not connected at all. You can literally start on 15 and none of the previous 14,000 ones before don't matter because, I mean, they don't tie into the last one, right? And that's one way of doing it is just making it all different, right? Also,
Yeah.
if you look at to Dragon Quest, right? Dragon
I've never
Quest,
played.
I've played a few. I haven't played all of them. I played a few of them, and a few of them, from what my knowledge, aren't connected. I mean, we might get some like DQ boys and girls that'll come in here and be like, "Hey, they kind of are, but they're not, but they are." But I don't really see it, right? I just don't. But that's those are some franchises that have done them right. That can just continue. You're like, okay, I'm looking forward to the next Final Fantasy. What's this one gonna be about? And who are going to be the characters? What's the system going to be like? Is it going to be a turn-based system? Is it going to be action RPG? But yeah, there are some franchises that do need to die.
I mean, if you look at Resident Evil again, how many times do they keep releasing a game where it's all linked to the freaking T virus from the first game? All of them are linked to the T virus from the first game. And I get that there are different strands of the virus, but they're all branching out from that initial story point.
Yep.
And it's getting so convoluted. Now you've got the freaking T virus, the G virus, the Las Plagas, the freaking Regenerator virus, all of these viruses. And Wesker's still freaking alive for some reason, and then he's not, and then he's back again. All of these characters, they're still there. Their stories just keep getting elongated, like they're freaking being left on life support, basically.
Basically. And then,
Resident Evil 7 was awesome, I think, until they linked it to the old Resident Evils by doing stuff. I don't want to say in case people haven't played Resident Evil 7.
No spoilers.
Resident Evil would work really well in a similar way to Final Fantasy, where it was each game in the Resident Evil series was its own story.
And then the remasters or the remakes, right, are they're gorgeous to look at, right? The Resident Evil, was it RE2 remake and RE3 remake? They're gorgeous to look at, but they're so short. Yeah, they're super short. Like I get if they costed maybe $25-$30, right? But $60 for a 3-4 hour game at most doesn't really sound appealing to me.
To be fair, the originals as well were pretty short. Like Resident Evil 3, I can beat that in 2 hours with a steering wheel.
I could barely beat the game with the controller. So,
I freaking love weird controllers for games. Resident Evil 3 Remake, I think, is a really bad game because Resident Evil 3, the original, was great because it had like this whole random element brought in. Like there was different pathways you could take, enemies would spawn randomly, items would spawn randomly. So you could essentially play through the game infinite number of times. I've played through it like I don't know how many times I've played through it, and I rarely ever get the same pattern. It's always fresh.
Nice.
The remake is just a normal freaking campaign. Nothing special. For some reason, they took out the branching paths and the randomization elements. I don't really get why they did that. It would have been so much better if they just kept those in. It doesn't feel like Resident Evil anymore. It feels like a DLC for Resident Evil 2.
That's fair. I can see that. I can see that for sure.
Resident Evil 2 remake, on the other hand, oh, freaking beautiful.
It just looks, it's so nice on the eyes. I haven't played the entire game, but I've seen it many times, and it just looks very appealing. You know.
Oh, do you know? For me, I think that the Resident Evil 2 remake is what was happening in my head when I played through the original Resident Evil 2.
Really?
If that makes sense.
So,
it's what I thought I would see. If that makes sense.
So what you're saying is you're a composer, also a game developer. Got it. All right.
No, I mean, it was PlayStation 1 graphics were realistic at some point. You look at them now and they're ass, but
yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
I'm a game developer. Though.
Yeah, you're a total game developer, obviously. No,
I mean I am. I've released some games.
Yeah, exactly. You've released some games and some songs, and you know, like it's good. It's good. Which games have you released?
I made a game called Uninvited Guests, which was like an RPG Resident Evil game where shady characters invaded a mansion and spooky things were happening and you had to escape the mansion alive. I released a game like that.
That sounds pretty spicy.
Oh, it's terrible.
Maybe not. I mean, you know, you made it, so who knows? Maybe a remake, possibly part 2 coming out soon.
Freaking hell.
But yeah, no, I get what you're saying, right? Like back then, you know, growing up, you're like, oh my god, these graphics are amazing. They're 4K graphics, you know, like to us. And then now you look back and you're like, wow, I really thought this looked good back in the day, because it did. And then now you're like, I got actual 4K graphics.
I think it might be because when graphics were more primitive, our imaginations filled in the blanks.
I guess that makes sense. That makes sense. Like our expectations were much lower, and you know, having to imagine something greater it was impossible at the time, right? And now that we've seen what greater is compared to what we are used to, then we're like, all right, that makes sense. So now your brain takes the next step, and it's like, all right, this is great, and then whatever below that is not so great anymore. Just, you know, tiers of greatness. That's how that works. Oh man,
I think as graphics have gotten better, there's less for you to imagine while you're playing it.
Mm-hmm. I can see that. I can see that because it's already done for you. So,
if you look at an Atari game where it's literally just like some squares moving around on screen, but it's supposed to be like fighter ships and aliens, you kind of imagine in your head the battle that's happening on screen. But if you see an actual fighter ship fighting an actual alien, you don't even have to do anything.
Yeah, it's done for you. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. I can see the battle happening while thinking about the battle, while also imagining the battle.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. So you have any final words before we cut off here?
Oh boy. Any final words? Okay. I make chiptune music. I'm free for work on games. If you guys are making a game, I'm the guy for you for music for guy. Yes. Okay. Send me a message on Discord. Also, don't forget to subscribe to Alex's Playing for $4.99 for the best penguin emotes on Twitch. And my tea's really cold. I just wanted to let you know.
I love you, Ryan. Ryan is such a delight, man. He's a funny guy. So if you guys want to check out Ryan, he streams on Twitch usually daily. Monday through Saturday, 8 hours a day, 8 hours a night, every night. That's all Alex did. And Yeah, you can find him over at twitch.tv/ RyanAVX25. Ryan, I'm just kidding. No, it's RyanAVX, guys. RyanAVX. Also,
Sephiroth Slayer 69 XXX.
XXX. You also have a YouTube as well, right?
I do, yes. Oh, freaking hell. I'm going to send you the link for the YouTube.
Oh boy.
On our YouTube page, we take a look at some upcoming indie games every so often, and we also talk a little bit more about why certain old games are rare, why they're expensive, and why you definitely should not buy the games that are over £300 because it's freaking stupid.
Oof, nice. That's some hot, spicy reviews that you got going on there.
Mm.
You definitely check him out. The link will be down in the description. And then also chiptune music. If anybody is looking for chiptune music, wonderful chiptune music. Definitely check out Ryan. He does some really good work. Very professional. Good price. Good and fair prices. Definitely go ahead and check out the link below. We'll have that down there too. Again, Ryan, thank you so much for your time. It's been fun. Really enjoyed talking with you. And if you ever find yourself wanting to come back onto the show here, we're more than happy to have you back.
Yeah, unintentionally, I ended up talking about myself too much. I wanted to learn more about you, Gonzo, but I kind of waffled too much. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, please. This is all, I mean, you can look at the very first episode, and that's where you find a lot about me and what I'm good at, I think. Something. Everything. I am master of all elements. I am the Avatar, the last airbender.
Master of the universe.
The master of the universe, exactly.
He has the power.
He-Man. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us, and we'll see you next time. And as always, take care of yourselves.